Hello and welcome to Talking Ed. I'm Interim Superintendent Christopher Shue, and I'm honored to be back as your host. With our communication last night about the transition to remote learning, we know families have concerns regarding how to manage the change in our learning models. This is a difficult time. We understand that. We want to do everything we can as a school district to ensure that you have the resources you need to help your students succeed. So as we approach the Thanksgiving holiday, today on Talking Ed, we're going to talk about food and its role in our communities. Food is an important component of our lives from a societal perspective, in addition to the obvious health implications. The truth is, food insecurity is a struggle for many in our community. Today, we'll be sharing resources from Jeffco schools and from our community partners as we seek to support our families and community during these challenging times. One of the hardest parts of making a critical decision, like moving to a 100% remote learning model, is that we recognize that access to food is a challenge in our community. Today, we will meet our Jeffco Public Schools Community and Family Connections Coordinator, who is responsible for coordinating support for our students and families who may be struggling with access to food, clothing, housing, and necessities. And we'll meet the Director of Operations, Food and Nutrition Services to learn more about how and where to use our free Grab-and-Go meal program. Additionally, we want to share that despite our recent district-wide decision to move to remote learning, that learning is still continuing in our food services programs at the high school level. In a bit, we'll talk about how the essential food service work and learning in our culinary arts programs is supporting our community's food needs. So let's start off by meeting the Director of Operations in Food and Nutrition Services here in Jeffco, Miss Erica Edwards. Hello, Erica. Erica, if you would, please, there she is. Erica, please give us a brief overview of what you do here for Jeffco Public Schools.
Absolutely. So as we've said, my name is Erica Edwards, and I'm the Director of Operations in Food Nutrition Services. Overall, as a department, we operate the child nutrition programs that are available in Jeffco Public Schools in what we could consider normal times and also now. So generally that is the breakfast and lunch programs are our largest programs, but also that includes some smaller programs, after school snack programming, the fresh fruit and vegetable program, and also what is generally limited to the summer food service program. And my team specifically really oversee the food piece of that. So we have a warehouse operation here in Jeffco. So we distribute food into all of our school kitchens, who then really are operating and really are providing meal service at all of our schools. So that is in general. And with that said, I come to this conversation about access to food really truly from the role that school meals can and do play in access to meals, again, in more typical times, but also when we are needing to move to this remote learning environment.
And Erica, and so let's talk a little bit more about that. So in the spring, we went to 100% remote and we had our grab-and-go meal programs, and we are now shifting our learning model into 100% learning again. Could you talk a little bit about what the grab-and-go programs are going to look like beginning soon?
Absolutely. And I do want to, go back to March and then move forward because I do want to make sure it's very understood, the free meal program, the meals at no cost, because it is very different than our typical operation. So in March, when we did go to 100% remote, just like everything, meal service changed very drastically. And so we went from serving meals in very lively classrooms to pivoting and moving to curbside pickup at selected sites. And with that change, we really changed the program that we operate under. And that is due to an emergency type situation. Everything changed in March, and so did so did the need across the country. And it's not just in Jeffco schools, it is across the country. And so with that, we were able to, the USDA allowed for school meal programs to shift to a different model, which does allow us to provide free meals to any student and honestly any child in the community. And so with that said, that is what we did in March. And we operated 12 total meal distribution sites. And so then as we started to start school again, we actually were not anticipating being able to provide that service, but did get word, we had actually started school. And on August 31st, we got word that we were able to continue that type of operation. And so, that really is to not only address a growing need for food resources across the United States again, but it's also to ease the operation and make it more accessible as we do go through these transitions of learning model. So we anticipated that this is not over, and so we were potentially going to end up exactly where we are right now, which is 100% remote learning. And so with that said, and I go through that process just to make sure everybody understands what that means. And again, it truly does mean free meals for any child in the community. And it honestly does not take a free and reduced meal application like it does in a typical school year. So regardless of whether you have completed that and you qualify for free and reduced meals in a typical school year, you can still access the free meals. We are, of course, encouraging completion of that application just because for fee waivers and for school funding purposes. But again, really, truly, this is a very accessible program of free meals and no application, no questions asked for everyone in the community. So that is kind of where we are, and I can go on of kind of what the moving forward those meals are going to look like. So, as we go into 100% remote learning, starting November 30th, we are going to move to standing up again 12 to 15 meal distribution sites that will be scattered across the district to try to fill and to gain access for everyone across the district. We will be distributing meals Tuesday and Thursday and in the later afternoon to accommodate the remote learning schedules a little bit more. And these meals, really truly are going to be meant for consumption at home and potentially heating at home. And they will be provided, multiple meals at a time.
Thank you. Appreciate that update. Could you talk a little bit about the type of meals that are being provided for our families who are going to be coming on those days and picking up that food remotely for their children?
Absolutely. So, these are going to be meals that we are going to provide, 3 to 4 meals at a time. They will be, they will run the gamut of, mostly, again, items that are either meant to be consumed as is, so sandwiches and yogurt and other items like that, or items that can be then prepared, take home, put in storage, and then prepared when needed. So that might be twisted breadsticks, that might be chicken tenders, that might be other items. And, cooking instructions, heating instructions will be provided with those meals as needed. Each of those meals then comes with fruits, vegetables, and also milk as again, as needed. So these meals will be bagged and a little bit different than in the spring. Just knowing that it is winter is coming. I'm not sure that we are always going to have the weather that we are able to stand out at those sites for long periods of time. So we will be providing, for the most part, in the front atrium of a building. And so just walk up and you'll be provided, again, those multiple meals at a time. We do want to just make sure that we are following all of the distancing requirements and mask requirements, all of that good stuff that is part of our lives now will be again, a part of those meal distribution sites. So again, it will be posted as we are able to confirm exactly which sites we will open on the 30th and, where those will be accessed and any information that is needed. So please, as we update that information and we are able to get it out, please check the website.
And I'll talk a little bit about that next.
Yep.
Eric, thank you. Erica, thank you. And to you and your department for continuing to provide these opportunities for our families as we once again change it to 100% remote environment. Really appreciate you. And just so everyone knows, if you need more information, like Erica was talking about, you can go to jeffcopublicschools.org/food for more information, and additional communication will be coming out from Jeffco Public Schools as well. Erica, thank you for your time and all the work you're doing. So now we're going to turn to Susan Kimes-Demboski from our Title I office. Hello, Susan.
Hi, Christopher. Thanks for having me today.
And thank you for coming on with us. Susan, please give us an overview of your department's work for Jeffco Public Schools.
Sure. So I'm Susan Kimes-Demboski. I work in the Title I department. Title I is a federally funded program. Our mission is access, equity, and opportunity, so all students can achieve their best school success. Those federal funds are prioritized based on a school's free and reduced lunch percentage. So when Erica mentioned about those applications, it's really important that families complete those applications because that does determine funding that comes out of our department. I specifically coordinate 2 programs that fall under Title I. I'm really privileged to do that work and coordinate both our Family Engagement Liaison program, which provides family engagement liaison positions in our Title I schools. And I also coordinate our Community, Family, and Connections liaisons. That team is a team of 5 liaisons that works across our entire district to specifically identify, verify, and support students that are experiencing homelessness and our unaccompanied youth. So that's a little bit in a nutshell about what our department is and specifically how I work with these 2 amazing groups of liaisons.
And so, Susan, talk a little more, if you would, about how you support our most vulnerable community members, and then what else would you like our families to know during this period of time?
Yeah, Christopher, when I think about specifically when it comes to food insecurity, two things come to my mind. It's partnership and trust. And we as a department, and I would say even as a school, really have built partnerships with inter-district partnerships. I work with Erica, we work with other departments here, our counselors and social emotional learning specialists to really build that tight network of support, but also our community partners. And we've built trust within that group as well. Our community partners really span the whole gamut. So, we're at the table, if you will, for conversations and meetings with Hunger Free Colorado. That's kind of a state advocacy organization. County-wise, we have the Action Center that supports food insecurity and many other resources for all Jefferson County residents. There's regional and city support. So I think of folks like the Coalition to End Hunger in Lakewood. There's Hunger Free Golden. There's organizations that are specific to Arvada, to our mountain communities. Edgewater Collective works to support folks with food as well. And then we also have kind of the little neighborhood support. So it might be a local civic organization, our faith organizations that are, maybe just two doors down from a school that support schools in our district with food support in a variety of ways. And I would say, this isn't really just a Title I school issue. You asked about what do I want families to know? Well, I want families to know that we're here for you, first of all. Families might not immediately make the connection if they're experiencing financial hardship or food insecurity. They might not immediately think that their school can be a bridge to resources. But I know that we in our department have worked really hard, and I know many schools work really hard to build these safe emotional spaces for families to have that, kind of difficult conversation with someone at their school if they are experiencing hardship, so we can help connect to resources, certainly food resources, but also, clothing resources, school supplies, other items that might be of use for a family right now. So it's certainly not just a Title I issue. And I never pretend to know or assume that I know what the face of food insecurity looks like. It quite honestly could look like any one of us. And so I really try to approach my work in that way. That I think there's a lot of people that it feels uncomfortable, right? And so I don't pretend to know that I think that what it looks like. It could be anybody, and we want people to know that they're not alone. They can come to us, and that we can be a bridge to resources and support.
I appreciate that, and I think that's the statement that sums it up, is you are a bridge of support between our schools and our school districts, so definitely want people to reach out and contact you. Susan, we've got some opportunities that our community can engage in, and it can help support your work. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so November is Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Month, and really we want to build awareness. We want people to know that we are here as a department to support families and students and staff in better understanding, what it looks like, what it feels like to be in the situation, how we can again connect folks with much needed resources. So with that in mind, we are hosting two really great events this year. Of course, COVID, has really changed it up for us. So we're doing our first ever virtual 5K. And we're also doing a Chipotle community fundraiser. And those funds specifically go to support things that our federal dollars can't. We want students to have a really full and rich educational experience if they are experiencing homelessness or if they're unaccompanied youth. And so these dollars can go to provide some of those things that are federal dollars, which have very strict guidelines about what we can use those dollars for. That's what this fundraising goes to do.
Thank you, Susan. Thanks for coming on with us today and talking about some of those resources. And once again, thank you for the work that you do and what your department does as well. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So now, everyone, we're gonna change a little bit and talk about War and Tech and our War and Tech programs. So in addition to what we're doing at the district level to support families, we want to talk a little bit about what is happening to ensure the continuation of our learning around essential services. Those essential services are food preparation, food service, hospitality. So we're going to talk a little bit about our career and technical education programs. And most of the time you hear those referred to as our CTE programs. Those will continue in-person learning and under, of course, safe guidelines. And so we want to talk to some of our students, and our students are still continuing in order to obtain those industry certifications and continue down those graduation pathways. And we want them to continue forward as they move into the essential services of hospitality, and work and food services, of course. So we have the privilege to talk to our staff and students in 2 of our culinary arts programs at Warren Tech and Arvada High School. So I'm going to introduce you right now, Mr. Christopher Starkus. And thank you, Mr. Starkus, for joining us today. And Mr. Starkus is the culinary arts instructor at Warren Tech and really seems to have his hands involved in all things food over at Warren Tech. So Mr. Starkus, if you could talk to us a little bit about the different programs that we have over at Warren Tech.
Sure. The 2 main programs centered around food is obviously the Warren Tech Culinary Program, which has been around since the early or mid 70s and is one of the cornerstones of Warren Tech education. And then, of course, the Farm to Table Program. We're lucky enough to have a 3-acre farm just about 100 yards from the culinary program. And so having that Farm to Table Program really have the students have a connection to exactly where their food comes from, treating it with respect and understanding the sustainability when it comes to farming food properly is right there on the campus. So, in terms of CTE, like you're talking about for culinary and technical education, hands-on experience is key. And as you just mentioned, the culinary industry, food service, things like that is not something that you can do remotely. So the fact that we're staying in person is a true testament to what the industry is. We are essential workers. This is essential education, and it's very important to keep these students there, of course, as safely as possible, as you mentioned, to learn this true industry. I think I like to point out that, whether or not you're going to go fully to the top and become a chef, or just understanding better idea of cooking, certainly cooking from scratch for better nutrition, we're finding that out now in our homes. If we're working remotely, we're having to cook a lot more or take advantage of people cooking for us. And getting access to our food that way. And so a couple ways that we've been working on that is, we have the ability to have our CSA, which is Community Supported Agriculture at the farm, and supporting through the programs of WIC and SNAP, which are, focusing on making sure there's food access for some of our lower income community members.
Thank you, Chris. And you and I were talking before the Facebook Live even started. We were talking about your background and your deep personal connection to food and community. Please talk to our listeners a little bit more about that.
I've been in the industry for 25 years, most recently at Urban Farmer downtown. I opened that restaurant as executive chef in 2017, which is very much a farm-to-table, sustainable restaurant. And really bringing a lot of those ethos to the industry was my goal while I was there. I'm also, I had a farm that I owned with my wife for about 4 years in Lakewood that we grew a lot of our own produce for the restaurant and ourselves. For certain areas of the menus and things like that seasonally. And as I mentioned too, I'm working on my master's in beekeeping through the Colorado State Beekeepers Association. So I've been a beekeeper close to 5 years now. And so having that connection to food and really understanding how food is produced, I think is a good connection for students, and really understanding, really treating food with respect and how difficult it is to get food from the farm to the table. I think that's an understated thing. We always assume that it's going to be there, and that's not the truth.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for your time. And we're now going to introduce one of your students. So I want to say hello and introduce Harmony. Hello, Harmony.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. So my name is Harmony. I'm currently a senior at Golden High School, and I also attend Warren Tech this year. I'm in the Farm to Table program, and last year I was a part of the culinary program. So I've had a great, well-rounded experience getting to see all the different sides of Warren Tech. I have a passion for food and a newfound passion for sustainability, and along with food access and making sure that everybody has the opportunity to be able to get fresh food and see where your food comes from. Getting to be a part of the Farm to Table program has been really awesome. And as Chef Starkus said, it is definitely an interesting experience, seeing the labor and all of the work that really does go into, actually getting food out of the ground and being able to prepare the food, and not just buying it from a store, but seeing how it's made and where it comes from has been an awesome opportunity that I've really loved a lot.
Thank you, Harmony. I like the way you just referred to your teacher as Chef Starkus, so I'm going to continue along with that. So Chef Starkus mentioned community food programs. that your class has been involved in. So could you give us a little bit of an idea of what that means to you? You talked a little bit about it, expand it a little bit, and then what work have you done, or how are you supporting our community's food needs?
Yeah, so one of the awesome parts about the Farm to Table program this kind of year, with all of the craziness of COVID going on, is that even though we have, hit roadblocks and millions of people nationwide have really been hit hard, especially when it comes to access to fresh food, the Farm to Table program has been able to continue to give fresh food to families in need. One of the programs that we help to support is the WIC program, which stands for Women, Infants, and Children. The fresh food, the vegetables that we pull out of the ground with our hands go straight into boxes and then are delivered to families in need. And I think that being able to be a part of that and helping with that and feeling like I have a direct impact and being able to help people has been awesome. We've also had the opportunity to continue to sell and provide fresh food at the farmers markets around Colorado, especially the one down in downtown Denver, and people can use their snaps and things of that sort to be able to get a hold and get their hands on that fresh food from the farmers market. And so while a lot of farmers, ranchers, and farmers markets have been directly impacted by COVID, and a lot of them have been shut down, it's been awesome that the one in downtown Denver has been able to stay up and running, and we've been able to provide food to those that need it the most right now.
Harmony, your passion is intoxicating. Thank you for that. You speak so eloquently and so passionately about food, and you have so much background now as far as what is happening. And yeah, you don't just go to a store and there's the lettuce. There's an entire process that takes place of how it is that our farmers have cultivated that, and people have transitioned that into our stores, and then the purchasing program, and then all the work that people do to produce something wonderful for our families. So thank you, Chef Starkus. Once again, thank you for creating this authentic opportunity for our students. And Harmony, it's just great to hear from you, and good luck to you in your future. And I hope you continue down this path and serve this nation well. And we're going to move to talk about Arvada High School now. We have Chef Duncan. I'm going to go along with that. I like that. And our student Marina, we want to talk with them a little bit about. First, I'm going to introduce Emily Duncan, our Chef Duncan, and Arvada High School. And she is a food visionary at Arvada High School. And where not only has she received this and built this culinary arts program, and you're going to see this beautiful environment that she has behind us. She can talk a little bit more about. This is thanks to the 2018 bond and our voters. But she is propelling this program into the future and really building this up, and had an opportunity to talk to her before this as well. And I just want to talk about some of the things she does. The projects are cooking in space, teaching chemistry with cooking. They are securing grants that have funded a forthcoming community garden, and of course the innovative cooking equipment that you can see behind her. So I've already given the thanks to the Jeffco voters in the 2018 bond. We are so fortunate to that. So we're going to turn right now to Chef Duncan. And if you could tell us a little bit about the history of the program at Arvada High School and how the Culinary Arts Lab has come about.
Hi, so thank you for having me. I appreciate the honor to speak with you guys today. So I came to Arvada in 2018, and we kind of had a typical home style kind of home ec kitchen. And so when I joined the school, we kind of started the program up again. It had been kind of dormant for about 10 years. So it wasn't really used. And so when we came here, we kind of wanted to shift our, the home ec kind of focus that Family and Consumer Sciences kind of often has to more of like the industry, career tech kind of standards that we wanted to put forth and kind of change the way that we would think about home ec and food service in high schools. So when we had the opportunity to have the renovations from the mill bond, we went for it as, let's turn this into a space that's industrial and useful, but also, can mimic what the experiences that students would have in the real, in the industry. So yeah, we were very fortunate to be able to design this space to fit our needs and kind of be able to grow with it. So that was really, really exciting.
And thank you. So you've talked about this beautiful space behind you. So now that you have it, what's in store for your students? Could you talk a little bit more about what's in store for your students and community?
So we have been in the works with Greater Outdoors Colorado, who are kind of an organization that brings us playground equipment. They do a lot of stuff for within our community, and they are paired up with a corporation called Big Green, and they bring learning gardens to schools and communities. So we were able to apply for a grant where these two companies have merged together to provide an outdoor classroom and a learning environment that was going to have the ability to introduce farm to table. Warren Tech is doing such a great job that we kind of wanted to have a sliver of that here to show sustainability, to show where food is coming from, but also we wanted it to impact the community. We wanted it to benefit the people that were around us. So there was a lot of process and thought what went into the grant and the programs that we were trying to accomplish to fit basically our needs here and also what the community and the people around us would be needing. So we were able to research a bunch of different things like food deserts and how would we be able to bring fresh food to our community, and then also, certain spaces that we could have for, outdoor activity and, some of the people around us that they could benefit from it too.
Thank you, Chef Duncan. Appreciate all the work you're doing and the excitement definitely you're showing regarding your work. So we're now going to meet one of your students. So welcome, Marina.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. So my name is Marina. I'm a junior at Arvada High School, and I'm in Pro Start 2 this year. Last year, my sophomore year, I was in Pro Start 1, and my freshman year, I was just in the normal culinary program. And I decided to be in this program because my freshman year, I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do. And so I always loved cooking and I loved the science behind it. And so I wanted to be able to join a program to actually understand everything that goes behind cooking and becoming a chef. And it's been really great to be able to grow with the program as well as grow as a person, because my first year here was also Miss Duncan's first year here. So it's been really great to be able to grow with the program and with the new space and everything.
Marina, before we went live, you were talking a little bit about, and I don't know what it's called, your top. If you could talk a little bit about that and show us the symbolism behind it, I think our listening audience would enjoy that.
So this is my chef coat that Miss Duncan gave us. So it has my name and it has the Pro Start symbol and the Arvada A. And last year in Pro Start 1, one of our requirements is we had to do book work and we had to study and take the test to be able to get our Serve Safe food handler certificate. And once we took that test and we were able to pass, it was a little present to us from Miss Duncan for passing the quiz. We got our own chef coats to be able, and we also got them to be in the Pro Start competition last year before it got canceled. And so it was a good little present to us from her for taking and passing the quiz.
All right, well, you earned that. Congratulations, you look great in it.
Thank you.
And another question, Marina. So we were talking a little bit about the Big Green Go Garden. Could you talk to our listening audience a little bit more about that?
Yeah, of course. So last year, as Miss Duncan talked about, it's been a 2-year program that we've put work into. So last year in Pro Start 1, we wrote letters and proposals to send to Big Green. That was something I personally did. I personally wrote a letter to help send to them, and other kids in Pro Start 1 also did that, as well as we did research for ways the garden can benefit the community, and we figured out how the fresh food can help in the Hutch Send Food to Space program. And we also talked about putting pathways throughout the garden and pollinators. And since we have a assisted living place right next to the high school before COVID happened, we wanted to put in pathways to allow the people living at the assisted living place to come into the garden and get fresh food, and also have the good community, and also for people that live in the neighborhoods right around Arvada High School.
Thank you, Marina.
Thank you.
We're coming to a close a little bit. I've got a couple more questions for our guests. So Marina and Harmony, this question is for you. And when you think about you're going through school, elementary, middle school, and high school, and suddenly there's this great opportunity. There's this opportunity at Arvada High School. There's this opportunity at Warren Tech. Could you talk a little bit about your fellow students who could be thinking about, or maybe not thinking about, exploring a career and this interest in going into these classes? Marina and Harmony, could you unmute and just talk a little bit about what interested you, what sparked your interest to jump in and take these classes?
For me, I'll speak first, I guess. I've always had a passion for cooking and just the outdoors. And so I didn't quite have a green thumb. I didn't have the perfect garden in my backyard, but being able to have the opportunity to gain those skills and learn, you know, the community side, the people side, along with the cooking side and the scientific side has been really awesome. And what I would say for my fellow students or anybody that is unsure of what they want to do, the future holds so much for the realm of cooking, food access, agriculture, and with the way the things are going, bringing fresh food to people and allowing children and adults to become more educated about where their food comes from is going to become, in my opinion, so important as the years go on. And so there's so many different ways to become involved in that. And I think even finding some way to become involved in that, even if it's not your career, just if it's a hobby, is something that's going to become really important and is awesome to be a part of.
Thank you, Harmony. How about you, Marina?
So for me, when I was in middle school, I did FCCLA and I was in the FACS program. And doing that in middle school, I wanted to continue it in high school. So when I found out that Arvada High School was getting a new culinary program and a new culinary teacher, it drew me to the school itself and it drew me to the program. And since I didn't know what I wanted to do, since I already loved cooking, I wanted to continue that and actually understand how to do it besides just, looking up the recipe online, actually being able to know how to do everything. And at the end of the day, even if that's not what I wanted to do after high school, not a lot of people my age nowadays know how to cook food. So it's always a great skill to have. And I wanted to also do it if I changed my mind once I went to college, I would be able to do that while I'm going to college. So I would be able to have that experience. So I'm able to support myself while in college and even after college if I'm having trouble finding a job.
Thank you both. Thanks for being here today and answering those questions. I'm going to go off script again, and I'm going to come back to Chef Starkis and Chef Duncan. So you two are passionate about what you do, working with food and nutrition and farm to table. So you heard what Harmony and Marina talked about, the excitement, why they wanted to get into the classes. You now have an audience of potentially all kinds of parents and students. What would you say to students who are, once again, they're moving into the grade level where they could be registering for these classes and getting involved in learning more about this or potentially get into a career? What would the two of you say to those students who are thinking about it or maybe are not thinking about this, and you could inspire them a little bit to look more into your courses?
I think for me, going to warrentech.org and really looking at the website there and the culinary program, you can get an idea of kind of what we're doing. We're on Instagram as well at WT Culinary. And so we're active in the social media realm as well. So even if you just kind of want to dabble in and see, hey, what are they up to? Is there anything exciting there that I think I might be interested in? And I think exactly like what Marina just said, whether you're interested in going all the way to be the top of the culinary field or understanding, hey, you know what, I want to be an engineer, but I love cooking and hey, man, maybe I want to be the best cook in my dorm and really understand how to cook from scratch so that everyone comes to my place when I'm making the best mac and cheese because that's what I'm known for. That's quite all right. Just because you're going in the program doesn't mean that you have to go into the industry in that way. I think just having an understanding at a really young age to know how to cook is exploratory enough. So come check out the programs.
Thank you, Chef Starkis. How about Chef Duncan?
So ProStart has been around for 20 plus years. A lot of people don't realize that. And when I was in high school, this program is what I got when I didn't really know what my future was going to hold. And by this program, it opened up the world of culinary arts to me, where I went to culinary school and became a chef, and I was able to explore that avenue just because of a coincidence of taking a class and taking a chance in school. And you will get many careers in your life, and you don't always know where you're going to kind of end up. So I find it to be very beneficial to kind of join programs where, you know, you can find sense of accomplishment, you can find pride, you can find things about yourself that sometimes it take a little harder for you to find at a young age. So that's really what I try to foster with my students here, is for them to have a sense of pride and accomplishment and a workforce drive, and then, you know, give them skills that they would be useful to have, you know, in the future. So this program changed my life in the direction that I, you know, went in, and I'm very grateful that Arvada gave me the opportunity to teach these kids the same thing that taught me.
Thank you very much. And you are Jeffco Schools. Proud to work with you. I do have one last question for our chef. So my daughter's a sophomore in Jeffco Schools, and she likes to cook, and she also is interested in trivia. And she told me that the number of folds in a chef's hat have to do with the number of ways that you can cook an egg. Is that true, or is that not true?
That's true. Yep.
So how many folds are there in a chef's hat? Because Marina's shaking her head too. How many folds are there?
101, I think. It's either 101 or 99. But correct me.
Yeah, I think you're right there too. I don't know off the top of my head. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. And yeah.
So that's something that our listening audience could look up. But so it is true. The number of folds in a chef's hat is the number of ways that that anyone can cook an egg. You heard it right here. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming on today and being a part of this, talking about food and nutrition, talking about the programs we have in our county, talking about how we are not only supporting our students through their education, but how we're supporting our students and families from a nutritional standpoint, from a food services standpoint, across Jefferson Public Schools. So I'm proud to work with all of you. Thank you, students, for being engaged with us, and we're happy to have the opportunity to help you continue along with your career. Like Chef Stark has said, you can either move along with your career, become a chef, or maybe you just make the best mac and cheese, so you've got your friends coming over all the time to your apartment. So I thank you all for being here, and just to our audience, appreciate everything you're doing. And once again, in these difficult times, please wear a mask, wash your hands, 6 feet of social distancing, and our goal is to once again return not only our students into career technical education like Marina and Harmony, they get to continue on with their in-person learning, to once again complete their industry certifications, but we want to return all of our students to in-person learning here in Jeffco Public Schools. So any final comments that any of you would like to make, Susan Kimes-Dembowski or Eric Edwards, before we finish our Ed Talk here today?
I just want to say thank you again for the opportunity, Christopher. We really want to build the awareness, get out there, do the virtual 5K, come to the Chipotle fundraiser night on the 17th here at the Denver West location. You'll find all that information in the community updates that come from our great folks at the communication teams here in Jeffco.
Thank you.
And I would echo very, very similarly. Thank you for having us, and thank you for, thank you for talking about this topic. I think it's so important right now. And, lastly, we want to see you, and we hope to see you at our sites to pick up meals, because food is so important in a child's academic success and well-being. So it's a hard time, and it is an odd format, but we do hope to see you to pick up meals.
Okay. Thank you, community, for being with us. Take care, and until next time on Talking Ed, Christopher Shue, Interim Superintendent. Take care.